Hello, this is the second video for the March 9th class. In this video, we will go through the examples on the classwork to practice the command that we just learned. So we're going to practice insert, delete, and update to manipulate the data in the table. So first, let's start Oracle. So the credentials to connect to Oracle again is available on Canvas under WebDB. So you can get the Oracle connection hostname, SID under WebDB, and you can also find your database username and password on WebDB. So because I'm working on my own computer, so I'm already connected to Oracle. So you can see you need to provide your username, password, and make sure that you have the correct hostname and SID. So now I'm connected to Oracle, and if you expand the table, you can see that I already have 3 tables that we created in the last class. So if you further expand the view for part, you can see that we have part number, part name, part color, and part weight. Okay. So part table has 4 columns in total in a sequence of part number, name, color, and weight. And we have defined constraint for some of those columns. And similarly, our supplier table has supplier name, number, name, address, city, state, and phone number. Okay. So now we need to add data to these tables. Okay. So now let's insert data to these tables. So going back to classwork, so example 10 asks us to insert data to the tables. Okay, so if we look at the example data, we see that we have data for part number, part name, color, weight, and p size. Remember that in my current table structure, I don't really have a p size column. So let's first add the p size column to the table. Okay. Because if you notice from the insert statement below, we have the p size in most of the commands. Okay, so let me actually go back to Oracle. Let me add p size column to part table. Okay, so the command here is outer table command, which we covered in the last class. Okay, so let me use outer table and part. That's my table name, and I need to add a new column. So add, and I only need to add one column, which is called p size, and p size is a varchar 2, and let me assign 10 spaces to this column. Okay, so now let me run this command, and says table part is altered. So now if you expand this again, let me first refresh it, and now if you expand this again, you can see that now we have a p size column. Alright, so now we are ready to insert data. So example 10, insert data. Alright, so the data that I want to insert are 5 rows. Okay, so let me copy paste that to my Oracle. So if you look at the first line, I said insert into part, and I give the values. P1, part 1, red, the weight of the part, and then the size of the part. So you can see that I did not explicitly list the column names for the part. So remember in the lecture we mentioned that if you are going to insert values for all the columns, then you don't have to explicitly specify the column names. Okay, but make sure that the value of the order should be the same as the order of the columns in your actual table. So that means the first value should correspond to the first column, second value should correspond to the second column. So, and similarly, we can insert P2, P3, and P4. Okay, and make sure that the sequence of your values again match the sequence of your columns. Okay, so now we can run those 4 together. Okay, so now we have 4 rows in the data. Okay, and if you look at the last one, insert part and P5, because for the part P5 I don't know the weight. Okay, so I don't have the weight information in for P5. So in that case, if you don't have the value for all the columns, then you must explicitly specify the column names that you do have value for. Okay, so I insert into part the number, the name, the color, and the size. Okay, and then you have the corresponding value. Alright, so let me run this line also. So 1 row inserted. Okay, so now if I want to see the results of my data, I can use a select star from part. And we're going to talk about select in more details in the next class. But if you use select star from part, that gives you everything you have in the part right now. So you can see now I have 5 rows in my part table, and for the P5, I don't have the weight. Okay, so I have a null value for the P weight. Alright, so now we have successfully inserted data to the part table. So now let's add data to the supplier table. Okay, so in the supplier table, I again want to add 5 rows. Alright, so supplier, we have the number, name, address, city, state, and phone number. Okay, so now because for all the 5 suppliers, I'm now adding data for all the columns in the same order. So in that case, that I don't have to always explicitly specify the column names. So let me run this insert statement. So now you can see all the rows are inserted to this supplier table. So let me verify my results by using a select, and I have supplier. Okay, so let me highlight that and run it. So you can see the 5 rows are now in my supplier table. Okay, alright, so that's example 10. Alright, so that's example 10 in which we inserted data into the table. So the insert into is actually very straightforward. So we just use insert into, give a table name, and provide the values. And if you only insert data to some of the fields, but not all of the fields, then you must explicitly specify the corresponding column names for which you do have data for. Okay, so that's insert. Alright, so now let's move to the next example. And example 11, we will practice delete. Okay. Alright, so example 11, I will delete all the red parts. So now I delete. So I need to delete from my part. Okay, so I need to delete from part. Okay, and I do. So if you don't have any condition, you can just run delete from part. However, I only want to delete the red part. So I must specify a condition using a where clause. So where I have the color, so I have P color equal to red. Okay, so that's my where condition. So by using this where condition, I make sure that I only delete the part with the red. Okay, so if you forgot what you have earlier in the part table, let's run this again. So we do have 2 rows with red as color. Okay, so now let me run the delete. Okay, so it says 2 rows deleted. So now let me select from part again. You can see that now I only have 3 rows and the 2 red parts were dropped. Okay, so that's a delete. So delete from the table name and add a condition for delete. Alright, the next example is a update. Okay, so let me actually copy paste all the 3 descriptions to Oracle. So example 12 ask to update the size to large. Okay, and example 13 and example 14. Okay, so example 12, we need to update the size to large for all the red parts in the part table. So we just deleted the part, the red parts. Okay, so if we want to add this back in, we can insert it again. So let's just run this again. So now we have the part. Okay, so now we add the part back to the table. Okay, so now let's update the P size to large. So now I have update. So I update table name is part. Okay, I need to set the value, which is my P size, to large. Okay, so if you just run update part set P size to large, it's going to set the P size to large for all the 5 rows in your table. So I don't want that to happen, so I need to add my where condition. So my where condition will make sure that I only update the size for the red part. Okay, so where P color equal red. Okay, so let me highlight that and let me run it. Okay, so 2 row updated. So now let me run the select again to see the data. You can see now the 2 red parts now have the size updated to large. Okay. Alright, so next one, update part 5 to set its weight to 30 units. So again, we need to update part. Now we need to update the weight. Okay, so it's a P weight equal to 30. Don't forget that you only want to update the part P5. So where part number equals P5. Okay. So let's run this. It's updated. And we need to select from part just to see the results. So P5 weight now become 30. Alright, now example 14. Ask to set all the part weight to null. So we need to again use update. And in this example, we don't have any condition. Okay, so we update. So we update part and set P weight to null. Okay, because I'm going to set P weight to null for all the parts, I don't have a where condition. So let me run it. And let's see the results using select. See, now all the P part has null. Okay. Okay, so you can see that example 10 we practice insert, example 11 we practice delete, example 12, 13, and 14 we practiced update. So all these 3 commands are DML commands, and all 3 of them are pretty straightforward to use, and they actually will manipulate the data in your table. So this is the end of the second video, and remember that you need to practice these commands on your own, and make sure that you submit your commands on Canvas. Okay, so you need to go to the assignments and upload your commands under class exercise March 9th. Okay, so make sure you do that before the next class, which is March 21st. Alright, so that's all, and see you after spring break.